Yeah, so what I can say is on 7th and the initial stages, uh, there were losses, but the numbers and that's not important. What was important is why did these losses occur and what did we do after that. So we rectified tactics and then went back on 7th, 8th and 10th in large numbers to hit air bases deep inside Pakistan. Penetrated all their air defenses with impunity, carried out precision strikes.
Raju, this was, I would say, uh, an escalatory war which has downgraded or which has lowered the threshold. And when I say it has lowered the threshold, previously, we used to be confined to the disputed territory. This time it has been in the international border. And now in the future even, it will not be restricted to the disputed territory. It would come down to whole of India and whole of Pakistan. Rather, the cities were targeted first and the international border and the line of control were targeted later. So this is a very dangerous trend. And it will affect, I would say, the investments, the trading, and even the potential of 1.5 billion people who are there.
So Air Force went into a short mode as to why did this happen. They rectified their tactics and flew in again and flew all types of aircraft with all type of ordnances on 10th.
And on the other hand, there are crisis management mechanisms which are totally absent. Less one DGMO hotline. So in the absence of no crisis management mechanism and on the other side having reckless actions, the time window for the international community to intervene would now be very less. And I would say that damage and destruction may take place even before that time window is exploited by the international community.
Now that satellite images for all the strikes are available, not only through Indian media but from global sources, and you would have seen that most of the strikes were delivered with pinpoint accuracy, some even to a meter, to whatever was our selected mean point of impact. So we were quite certain that none of them will go astray and they'll land at the places where we desired them.
This is the first time it has been held in abeyance, and the decision to hold it in abeyance came in the first 24 hours without a shred of evidence, despite our offers of impartial and independent investigations. This is an existential threat to Pakistan because we are an agrarian society. It is an existential threat for the 240 million people. So this also lowers the threshold between two countries who are contiguous nuclear powers nowhere else in the world.
There's a lot of space before that nuclear threshold is crossed. A lot of signaling before that. I think nothing like that happened. Over a period of time, as I said in a couple of other meetings, that there's a lot of space for conventional operations which has been created, and this will be the new norm.
So we are coming back to we have almost come back to pre-22nd April situation. Okay. When we say that the presence of troops on the borders, it is almost we are approaching that, or we must have approached that by now.
And India as well, both sides?
Yes, both sides.
Okay,
it
so
has
both
to be
sides are in the process of
yes, both sides. Both sides.
It's my personal view again that the most rational people are people in uniform when conflict takes place. That's because they understand that conflict can swing either way. They understand the consequences of this kind of a conflict, and in every step which happened during this Operation Sindoor, I found both sides displaying a lot of rationality in their thoughts as well as actions. So why should we assume that in the nuclear domain there will be irrationality on someone else's part? I think that they will be subjected to very, very rational kind of an behavior. And so while this was unfolding from 22nd onwards, we didn't find any unusual activity in the operational or tactical depth of our northern borders, and things were generally all right. And as regard assistance provided to Pakistan during this particular conflict, you all aware that almost 80% of the equipment which Pakistan has procured in the past few years actually has been procured from China. So I'm sure some kind of an support from the OEM, etc., to refine problems, rectification, maintenance, this kind of support certainly would have been provided. I think Government of India has made it quite clear. They have laid down the limits of the tolerance against terror activities emanating from Pakistan, and it's quite clear that India is going to respond precisely and decisively should there be any further terror attacks emanating from Pakistan. So that's, I think, has its own dynamics as far as the armed forces are concerned. It will require us to be prepared 24/7